Hello friends, in this video I'll show how you can use the basic CRUD operations to develop a simple application in PHP. We know that CRUD stands for create, read, update and delete, and these are related to SQL commands insert, select, update and delete. If you see in this application, there is a list of users displayed in an HTML table, and for each user there is an update and delete buttons. You can add user using add user. If you click add user form is displayed. You can add a user here. Click on submit. So user added successfully message is given. You can see in the list the name is added here. So you can click on update, click on submit and it is updated. You can click on delete. It's asking for a confirmation. OK, and user is deleted and message is displayed here. So all the four CRUD operations are done in this application. So let us develop this application using PHP and MySQL. So I am in XAMPP htdocs folder, and here I'll create a new folder, CRUD. So I go to this folder and type cmd, and in the command prompt I type code dot. So it will open the project in Visual Studio Code. If you do not have VS Code installed, you can download it from code.visualstudio.com/download and install it. First we'll create add user form. So let us create a new file, adduser.php. Type HTML5. So we'll use Bootstrap 5 CDN. So here you will see Bootstrap 5 CSS. So this is for Bootstrap 5. Copy this and paste it here. We'll create a CSS folder and then a style.css. New file, style.css. So we'll add all the styles in this file. Go to add user, add a container div, h1, so this will be the create operation of the CRUD. We will add a form. We are keeping action as blank. We will write the PHP code in this file only. Use Bootstrap 5 input. So in this form we will use name, email and the address of the user. So this is for the name field. Let us remove this, and instead we will add a div here to display the validation error message. Give class as text danger. Just copy this, and this will be for the email. And then we will add a text area for address field. And then add the div for the validation error message. And then we will add a submit button. Give a name. So if we run this now, localhost CRUD, and then we give add user. So the form is displayed. So we need to give some style here. Go to style.css. And for the form also, we'll add some style. Let us give a border. Let us give black for the time being. We'll give a padding. We'll change the color here. We'll make the label bold. So here we'll add a class font weight bold. Just add that for email and address also. So our form design is ready. So this is just a static HTML form. We have not added any PHP code or any database yet. So now let us go to the database and create our table. Just make sure Apache and MySQL services are running in XAMPP control panel. So we will use the test database. We'll create the table name users, ID, name, email and address. ID is integer, name is varchar, email varchar, address varchar 255. Create the table. Make this primary key, ID should be primary, and then change it to auto increment. So table is created. Now we'll create a database connection PHP script. We'll create a new folder here, CFG for configuration. We'll create dbconnect.php in this folder. So this will be used to connect to the database. So we'll use a variable $connect. We'll use new MySQL to create an instance of MySQL. And we'll use 4 parameters here. One is server and user ID and then password and the database name. Now we have to give the value for these 4 parameters. We'll use localhost, then user ID. We'll use the root user, default user, and then give the password. There is no password for the root user, and database name test. So we'll check for the error. If there is any error, we'll use die and give a message. Else give the message connection successful. So we'll just test whether the database connection is working correctly or not. We have to use CRUD, CFG and dbconnect.php. So it's saying connection successful. So our connection script is working fine. And now we don't need this. So we'll use this dbconnect.php in other programs. We'll just include it in the other programs where we need to connect to the database. So I'll go back to add user, and what I'll do, I'll cut the top section before the body tag and paste it in a new file, header.php, so that I can use it for other program also. So I'll just create a new file, header.php, and paste it here. Save it, and in the add user, just include this header.php. And we'll also include dbconnect.php. So if you run it now, add user.php. So now we have to write the PHP code when the form is submitted. If you see, there is a submit button here and the name is submit. So we'll check if the form is submitted. We are using post method. So you are using $_post submit, which means when the submit button is clicked, we have to do the form validation. So if you see the form, so we need to check whether the values are entered in the fields or not. So we'll do that validation. First we'll get the values from the form, $post name. So we'll use a trim function here and then just copy this name and then email and then address. So we have got the values from the form, and now we will check if they are empty or not. If name is empty, we will give a validation error message, name error equal to enter name. Then we will use an error flag which will be true. Once there is any validation error, we will use error flag as true and initialize this as false. So let us initialize this as false. Initially there is no error, and when there is any validation error, it will become true. So we'll just copy this and let us do the address validation first, and then we will do the email validation because we have multiple validation for the email. So let us give this address. And now we'll check for the email also. So if you run it now, let us refresh this and click on submit button. There is nothing displayed here because we have not displayed the error message. So we have to display the error message now for each input field. We have added this for our validation error message. So now we'll print that. This would be name error. Similarly, we just add this for email and address. So let us refresh now and test, and now it is saying it's not defined. So we have to define these variables. So just refresh this and click on submit button. So it is displayed now. These are the validation message. So these validations are working fine. Now we'll do additional validation for the email format and check for duplicate email. So we will do that now. We'll add two validations for the email. One is format of the email and other is duplicate email. So here you add else if. We'll use a filter var function $email and give a filter validate email filter, and you have to give this as negation of this because we are checking whether it is valid email or not. So in case invalid email format, we have to give the message. So that is why we are using not filter var. Copy this, and here email format is not valid, and then else check for duplicate. So here we will write an SQL statement, get the details from the users table and check whether this email already exists or not. So we will use the select statement here, email equal to give a question mark, and we will use prepare statement. Let us give $statement equal to. Now if you go to dbconnect.php, we are using $connect as the connection handler. So we will use this $connect prepare and give the SQL statement. We are using one parameter here, email parameter, so you have to bind the parameter. Now here email is the string, so we have to give a single s here. So bind parameter is done, and then execute the statement. Once statement is executed, we have to get the result. Let us take result equal to get result. Now if there is any row returned by this SQL statement, that means email ID already exists in the database. So we'll check for that. If $result num rows greater than 0, which means email ID already exists. So then we'll give the message saying email ID already exists. Email already exists, and make error flag as true. We have not added any users yet. We'll test it later. So just run this and see. Click on submit. Okay. We can validate the email format, just give test and click on it. You can see email format is not valid. Now one thing we have to do, if there is any validation error, we want to retain the value in the form. So we have to give the value attribute in the form, name, and add a value, name, and add this for email also. And for the text area also we have to do that. So for text area we are not using any value, so we have to just give the address. So if you now refresh it, now we have to initialize these variables as well. So $name, email, refresh it. Now give test, give name, submit. You can see the name is displayed here, test is displayed here, and it's showing the validation error message. So we are fine with the validations. So now once all the validations are successful, we can insert the row in the users table. Initially error flag is false. So if there is no validation error, error flag will remain false. If not error flag, that means there is no validation error. Validations are successful. So we can go ahead and insert the row in the database. Let us write the SQL statement. This will be an insert statement in the users table. Now see the columns for the users table: name, email, and address. Values, give 3 question mark here. Now while inserting row in the database, there could be some error, so we'll use it try catch here. We'll use the prepare statement, and now we have to bind the parameter. There are 3 parameters here. So all these 3, name, email, and address, these are all strings. So we give SSS, name, email, and address. Now execute. So once successfully executed, we want to display the message. Let us just give echo. We'll change it later. So for the time being I am using echo here, and if there is any error, we'll just display the error, exception. Okay, so now let us try to insert a row in the users table. So we'll refresh it. So you can see it is showing user added successfully. So add user or create user is working fine. Now if you want to see the error message, just give a name 1 and try to insert a row. Click on submit. You can see it is saying unknown column, name 1 field list. So error message also being displayed here. Now let us change this. So add user is working fine. So now we can test the duplicate emails. If you see the database, it is added. So go here, give a name and give the same email ID and click on submit. So it is showing email address already exists. So validation for the duplicate emails is working fine. So we are done with the create operations, for which we have added a new user and also we validated the form. And now we will display the users in an HTML table, which will be the read operation. Now we will create index.php. So new file, index.php. Here we will use an HTML table. So let us copy this and use it in index.php as well. We will use bootstrap 5 HTML table, bs5 table. So we'll use table default. So there are 4 columns in our table. So if you see in the table we have 4 columns. So there will be 5 columns here. The 4 columns from the table and 1 column for the action, update and delete. ID, name, email, address, action. In the table we will use table bordered, and we will remove one row here. We will be using PHP for loop anyway. So let us run that. So since we are using index.php, we will just give localhost CRUD. So let us give heading. We will give a div, give a h1. So this is our read operation. Refresh it. Let us give a class here, table dark, and style let us add margin. So this is a static HTML table now. We'll write SQL statement to get the data from the users table and display them in the HTML table. Index.php. So we'll write the SQL statement. Execute it and then get the result. And now we'll use a for loop here so that we can repeat this table row. First check if there is any row returned by the SQL statement. So we'll use if num rows greater than 0. Then use a for each loop. So within this for each loop, we'll use this table row. So just cut this and use this table row within the for each loop and then close it. In case there are no rows in the users table, so we have to give the else statement here. Else. So in that case, we will just display no users to display. We have to display the values here. Now the last column is action, so we will just remove this now. We don't want to display right now. We'll keep it blank as of now. So this will be ID, name, email and address. So basically we are getting all the data from the users table and then in an HTML table we are displaying them using a for each loop. Let us now test it, refresh it. So you can see data is coming here. So there is one row in the table, only one row so far, and the row is displayed here. So now what we will do, we will add a button here for the add user. Add a button. Give a href equal to add user.php. Refresh it. You can see add user is coming here. Add a class here, margin bottom. If you click add user, so add user form is displayed now. And here we'll add a cancel button. Go to add user. This is the submit button. Add a cancel button also. Use index.php in case the form is cancelled. Refresh it. Click on cancel. So it's coming here. Add user. Now let us add another user. Click on submit. User added successfully. If you go to the database, there are 2 rows. Now this message is displayed in the same form. Instead, we'll display the message in the index.php and redirect the user to the index.php. So let us change that. If you cancel it now, you can see there are 2 rows. Go to add user. Now since we are generating the user message here in the add user.php and we want to display it in index.php, so we'll use this message in a session variable. So this is the message. Let us add this message in the session so that we can display this in index.php also. Let us give success message. User added successfully, and in case of error, we want to display the error message in the same form only. So what we will do here, instead of echoing here, we will give a variable error message is equal to this, and now we want to display this success message and error message. Success message will be displayed in index.php and error message will be displaying in this same form only. So let us first do that. Add the error message. If not empty $error message, we will use bootstrap alert to display the error message. Give alert danger and display the message. So error message is displayed. In the same way, we will display the success message also, but it will be displayed in the index.php. Let us add this just before the table. Success message in the session variable. So we have to use the session here. Is set $session success message. Since we are using $session, we need to add session start in the index.php as well as add user.php. So since we are using a header here, so we'll just add it in the header.php instead of adding it in individual file. So go to header and here add session start. So let us test it now. Index.php, add user, add a new user here. Click on submit. Okay, the message is not displayed. So let's see what is the problem. We need to redirect the user to the home page, that is index.php. So we'll use header. So we added the success message in the session variable, then redirecting the user to the index page or home page. And in index page, we are displaying the success message. So it should work now. Let's see. Let's see in the database whether it is added or not. It is already added. Now if you try to submit again, what is happening? Let's see. Email ID already exists. So let us change the email ID. Submit. User added successfully. Now we want to give it in green color, not in red. So we have to change that class. Go to index.php. Here change it to success. Refresh it. So now it is fine. Once we are displaying the session message, we need to unset it so that it does not return the value in the session variable. Now if you refresh it, it should go away. Click add user again. Click on submit. User added successfully. You can see all the users are displayed here. So create and read operations are done. They are working fine. So now we will add action here for update and delete. We go to index.php. This is the action column. So here we kept it blank. So now we will add 2 buttons here for update and delete. Let us give the name upd user.php. We refresh it. So update button is there. Similarly, we just add delete button also. And let us give the name as del user.php and change it to btn danger. So update and delete. So we'll work on the update first. So when we are calling upd user.php, we need to send a parameter and we'll send id as the parameter. We'll send the same parameter for delete user also. Here we have to give $row. Now let's work on the update first. Let us create the new file and copy everything from adduser.php to upduser.php. Now first of all, let us change the heading update. So if we just refresh it and click on update, so it is showing the update form and we need to display the values here. If we are selecting for the first row, the values should be displayed under the fields in this update form. So let us work on that. So first we will check if we got the parameter as id. So if is set $request id, we get the id value in a variable $id, and then we will query the database to get the details for this id, where id equal to give question mark $statement equal to $connect prepare $sql, and we need to bind the parameter, and we have id. So id is an integer, so we give I for integer and $id and then execute. So once it is executed, we need to get the data. So let us give result $statement get result. If number of rows greater than 0, then $row equal to result fetch associate. Get the values for the different fields, $row name, email and address, and here the column name is address. So we got the values. We have already displayed in the form. If you see in the form, we have a value attribute. So let us refresh it. We can see the values are displayed now. Update displayed. So the values are displayed. Since we are updating the values, we need to give a hidden field here. Give type equal to hidden for the id. Name equal to id. Because we don't want to show the id, and this id field will also be submitted along with the form, and we'll update the details for that id. So our form is okay. We don't have to change anything in the form now. So all we'll be doing now, when the form is submitted, we just add another field here for the hidden field. Give this id. So we got the id, name, email and address. And the validation, all the validation would be applicable for add user as well as update user. Only thing we have to change here, when we are checking the duplicate email, we have to give another condition here, where email equal to this and id not equal to question mark. We have to check whether the email id does not exist for another user. So that is why we have to add this id not equal to question mark. So in this case, bind parameter, we have to add I and then give $id. Validations are fine. And in this case, instead of insert statement, we'll write the update statement. So let us remove this and write the update statement. Set name equal to question mark, email equal to question mark, address equal to question mark, where id equal to question mark. And now we have 4 parameters here. So in the bind parameter, we have to give name, email, address, all these are string and ID is integer. So we just add I here and then give $ID. Once the update statement is successful, we just give updated, user updated successfully, and redirect to the home page. So let us just run it and see. Refresh it. So let us update the first row. Click on update. So just to check, click on submit. Email ID already exists. So there is some problem. So in the input hidden, we need to give the value here. Value equal to, we need to give $ID. So there is no value given in the hidden field. So it should work now. So let us now check again. Click on update, give updated, click on submit. So user updated successfully. You can see the name is updated. Let us update the email ID which actually belongs to a different user. So let us see, we give a different email ID here. Now let's see, submit. So this is fine, and let us give this email ID. Click on submit, updated successfully. Give a different email ID, submit, email ID is updated. Update the address also, submit, address is also updated. So if you see the database, you can see database it is updated. So during update, if someone changes this URL, suppose if someone gives different ID, so it gives an empty form, or if someone gives just update user.php without giving any parameter, so in that case it gives error. So we want to avoid these situations. So in that case, we will just redirect user to the home page. So in update user.php, in case request ID is not set, or if there is no rows found for the corresponding ID, we just need to take care of this. So we just add else statement here and redirect user to the home page. So just copy this and paste it here. So if you see the if statement here, if there is no rows found corresponding to the ID, and if request ID is not set, for both these cases, we will redirect user to the home page. So now if you check, so just give a different ID. So it goes to index.php. Similarly, if you remove this, enter, so it goes to index.php. So we are able to update the user. So now we'll go for the delete. Go to index.php. We are calling del user.php with parameter ID. We want to add a confirmation here. On click equal to return confirm. So we are adding a confirmation here, return return confirmation, and then we'll add a new file, delete user.php. Now if we refresh it and click on delete, so it is asking the confirmation for deletion. Are you sure you want to delete the user? We can add the name of the user also here. Let us give $name, and in the name equal to, so refresh, click on delete. So the name is, so name is not coming here. So PHP echo, refresh it. So you can see it is showing the name also. Now let us write the code for the delete user. Now we'll check if is set $request ID, then only we'll go for delete. We'll write the delete statement. Bind the parameter. Now ID is integer, so give I, and we'll use $ID here. Execute. Now once delete is successfully, here also we'll add a message in the session variable. And then we'll redirect the user to the home page. Since we are using session here, so we need to add the session start. We are not using header.php here because we are not using any form. So we have to write the session start separately in this delete user.php. So now refresh, click on delete. This is the first user. OK. It says variable $connect. So the reason is that we have not included dbconnect.php. So let us add that. Just copy this. Now we'll go back here, refresh, click on delete. OK. User deleted successfully. Now if you see in the database, we deleted this one, so let us refresh it. So it is gone. Click on delete again. Deleted. Delete everything. See in the database, it's empty now, and it says no user to display. So we'll just add a column span here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns. 5. We have to add body tag here. Refresh. So no users to display. So delete is working. So if you add another user added, you can see it's added. See in the database, there is one row here. Click on update. Let us update the address. Submit. User updated successfully. Click on delete. OK. User deleted successfully. Check in the database. It's gone. So we have completed all the 4 operations of CRUD: create, read, update.